Good evening, dear radio and TV viewers. I welcome you at your YouTube receivers. And as always, we have met again with anticipation to learn the secrets of our body. What new things has it prepared for us this time, our mysterious human body? As you guessed from this photo, today we will be discussing our breathing. There are so many different theories. We all know the breathing exercises by Strelnikova, by Buteyko. Also, our contemporaries, thinkers, encyclopedists, Shishonin, also Bubnovsky and Zinaida Ivanovna Basileva, made a great contribution to the development of breathing exercises. But all of them were only able to partially touch this vast multitude, the vast volume of all-encompassing knowledge, which includes our breathing. As it turned out, I delved into this topic, began to study, and the founder of breathing not only in our country, but also in the world was, and the great scientist Alexander Anatolievich Ivanishchenko, a student of the great Abu Ali ibn Sina, to whom he passed on his knowledge before his death. And Alexander Anatolievich, he carried his banner to us, people, shared with us, gave away with the fire of his heart. And we accepted but did not assimilate. And we are still doing it. Mistakes, just typical ones. Right here, look. Who will say this? A man. And this, why is this a woman? Because he breathes with his stomach, and this one breathes with her chest. These are the stereotypical thoughts we have. Diaphragm. Why do we call it diaphragmatic breathing? Is it stomach breathing? Because we are mistaken, dear friends. And here is the diaphragm. According to many, look on YouTube, how to breathe, diaphragmatic breathing. They advise inflating your stomach. Inflating your stomach activates your diaphragm. But they are not bothered by the fact that the lungs are located here, in the chest. Both of these you see are generally unhealthy positions. These two people here don't seem healthy. Even their gaze. You see, there's pain in both of their eyes. Because with every breath, they feel her pain. Both of them have a flabby diaphragm, both this one and that one. This one is slightly better. When there is a lack of mobility in the chest, excessive movement of the abdomen occurs. What's the downside? Everything that's in your stomach, not just the food that's been prepared and eaten, but here it is. It's in your stomach for now. Then it will proceed further in the intestine. And all the organs, 2 kidneys, a stomach, a liver, 1 gallbladder. Here is the urinary bladder, someone's uterus, someone's prostate gland, and all the other organs, loops of intestine, here they are tangled up. They tend to drop down here under the influence of such improper movement. Sometimes they even want to fall out. In this case, there is excessive forward movement of the chest. And in certain diseases, for example, bronchial asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, chronic obstructive bronchitis, these intercostal spaces begin to increase because the person lacks inhalation. He wants to inhale more, and even more. Inhale air into himself. Therefore, his chest becomes huge, barrel-shaped, but useless, ineffective. Why? What mistake do these 2 young men make? They are breathing what they shouldn't be breathing. The main problem with breathing in all breathing exercises is that the mobility of the ribs is lost. That is, breathing is a process just like a heartbeat. The heartbeat, just like your heart beats on its own. Don't interfere with it, it knows how to beat on its own. It's pretty much the same with breathing. But if there's not enough rib mobility, you see, these are called costovertebral joints. Joints between the ribs and the transverse processes of the vertebrae. You see, there are joint surfaces here on the ribs and the vertebrae. And the rib moves relative to the vertebra. This is it if there's movement here. If it disappears, then it becomes redundant. Either here, in the front part of the chest, but here, as you can see, is the cartilaginous part of the ribs. Or, for those who also have very poor mobility here, the abdomen begins to excessively engage in breathing. But the mistake of all people who teach you how to breathe correctly is that they call abdominal breathing diaphragmatic. Diaphragmatic is any breathing at all. You won't be able to take any breath without the diaphragm, because the diaphragm is a respiratory muscle. Without its movement, you won't be able to inhale or exhale at all. So, friends, what should we do? We need to reduce the movement of the abdomen during inhalation and increase it during exhalation. The abdomen should work during breathing, but it should not inflate and fall out like this forward. It should rather shrink and tighten. Your transverse abdominal muscle should work well. It should pull you in, your stomach, and not bulge forward. Don't let it bulge forward, and your ribs should not move in the front here, causing you discomfort and intercostal neuralgia. They should move back here. And the recovery complex. The full cycle of breathing was developed by Alexander Anatolievich Ivanishchenko, who you already know. In 1852, at the annual plenum in Milan, he presented a report on the revolutionary technique of breathing exercises, which caused a sensation in the world at large. The entire concept of breathing exercises changed worldwide, but as a result, it is considered that there was some kind of conspiracy by these adherents of diaphragmatic breathing. As it happened, the next day during a horse ride, he fell, broke his neck, and died suddenly. But he managed to record his knowledge in a diary, which I found by chance. I discovered it by chance during another trip to my grandmother's country house. I was digging in the garden and found this diary there, where all the exercises were detailed by Alexander Anatolievich Ivanishchenko. And now I will show them to you, dear friends. I won't hide a single one, even though I'm in danger right now, because I'm planning to do the same. Go horseback riding. No, I'm not planning to. I'll keep my distance from horses. In short, I'll have time to pass on this knowledge to you anyway. Watch attentively. Don't blink. Thanks to these breathing exercises. If you noticed, I've been speaking on one breath since the beginning of the video. I didn't inhale once. If skeptical, review it. Here's my second breath. I'm taking it now. Didn't see? It's super fast. There it was. Look, friends, we have 12 rib cross members. Both men and women have paired ribs. Only Adam had 11. 12, not 11. On one hand, on the other 11. And we all have 12. So, for this, you will need a ball. A massage ball? Hard or less hard? If you are a more sensitive person, you can start with a tennis ball. It's yellow. With this ball, you need to work through each of these joints. How so? First, you found the rib with the ball. You found it with your hand, where the rib is. Where the rib attaches to your spine, that's where your costovertebral joint will be. And you put the ball back in place. You will feel the spinous process. Place it right next to it and stand near the wall. There's a wall behind you. And in this position, you start to make such a movement so that the ball slightly presses on your rib. And it turns out that the rib, can you see it? Now write down, can you see this movement or not? Can you see it? Good. So with the ball, you're kind of making this kind of movement. This movement, it's called rib mobilization. Not that mobilization, but rib mobilization. That's what it's called. There is a manipulation where with one movement, with a crunch, everything falls into place, right? And mobilization techniques, that's when you gradually develop mobility. Simply, you took and placed the ball and pressed down. Relaxed, compressed. That's the rib's current movement. That's how it will move for you too. Then moved on to the next rib. Moved it around. You can make 5-10 movements. Here. With each movement, the mobility of your rib will improve. It will participate better. You have movement, see how it moves? It will move the same way for you if you do this. Doing this will not move it the same way. And so we worked first on one side, then the other. There will be places where the ribs move worse, and in these areas, you linger longer. You will find that not all ribs move the same. Where mobility is worse, you pay attention to these places. This is the first stage of our breathing recovery. The second stage is the respiratory muscles. When we inhale with you, so that our ribs move well, so that the stomach participates less in breathing, so that the diaphragm can move fully, so that our lungs expand. We need our muscles involved in rib movement to work well. First of all, this is the quadratus lumborum muscle. It is located here. It is schematically depicted here, between the 12th rib and the iliac bone, quite large and wide. We need to bring it into perfect condition with you so that the air is rich, rich with the summer smells of berries. Bees. We took a deep breath with you. So, look, we put the ball right here. Again, this same ball helps you. See? You buy a ball once, it helps you for a lifetime. You put it here, again, between you and the wall. You will need the wall again. You put the ball here again, between the ribs and the wall. And here, you leaned a little to the opposite side. And here in motion, you are already working out this muscle. That is, you need to relax it, make it more elastic, remove the fibrosis, adhesions that have accumulated in it, because you haven't used it for a long time while breathing. Breathe with your stomach. You were breathing. We're working all this out. Restoring blood supply. Restoring. By the way, innervation and passing. Because when this muscle shortens, the distance between the pelvis and the 12th rib decreases. All this is getting closer. And here problems can arise both with the position of the pelvis and with disc injuries, and even with nerve compression. See how many useful things at once. If you are helping yourself, do it. Don't get distracted. So, friends, moving on. The next step. What do we have here? Look, this is the pectoralis minor muscle. It also attaches to the ribs. It is of great importance when the pectoralis minor muscle shortens. Several ribs, namely the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and automatically located next to it, above and below, are also excluded from movement. Very often when these muscles shorten, joint blocks occur right here at the back. Even fixation of the vertebrae in the thoracic region can occur if these ribs do not move for you. The muscles compress here, shortening but not moving at the back. That's how our body is structured. To get them in order, you don't remove the ball from your hands again. Again, it's with you. Yes. And now you place it on the projection of the small pectoral muscle, which is located under the large pectoral muscle. And the same thing, you've placed it and work it out the same way. You can do it in motion. It can be done in motion. If you found a very painful spot, you can just hold it like this. For example, as if there's a wall in front of me. And like this, you roll it right along the muscle, here to her 3 ribs. If it's attached, yes, roll the ball like this, along each of these ribs. Do it here, here, and here. Those who have numb hands, those who have weakness in their hands, it will also be useful for you. For those who are hunched, those whose shoulder is shifted forward, when you work it out, you'll feel what it's like. So, friends, that was our small chest muscle, which will also allow us to breathe well, to inhale and exhale. We do the preparation? Yes, so that all our muscles work well during breathing. And the top 2 ribs, these are our serratus muscles, the serratus muscles. In animals, they generally perform a respiratory function, but in humans, because they decided to free their hands for food, in order to hold various tools of labor in their hands, for example, to steer a car there, they lost their stair muscles, respiratory function, and these 2 ribs often stop moving, because the stair muscle itself also fully stops working. It shortens. We remove this shortening like this with you. Watch this for that. You turned your head so that your nose is facing you. To the northwest? No. First, you put your hand here, on the shoulder, and the elbow appears right here in front of you. You turn your head so that your nose is pointing at your elbow, or tilt it 45 degrees like so. We'll be turning it both ways. Turned. And with my hand, if I turn my head to the left, here, my left elbow is about on one line, I turned. And now, sternoclavicular joint muscle. It's easy to locate. It's quite strong if you've been doing neck exercises. The front and middle scalene muscles are located right behind it, and your task here is to gently smooth this muscle down like this, with this kind of movement. That is, you pressed on the muscle and made a downward movement. We press down and make a movement. We press down and do it. And such movements. But approximately the width is this much. The width is approximately 2 fingers. Do this on this square here. On one hand, on the other hand, here's one option and another. You press on the muscle, and you yourself already make the movement with your head. You pressed on one point. You tilted your head towards one ear. The other one, hold it yourself at this point here. And you move lower, 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 across the entire muscle. And you also smoothed it out like this. Then you can combine these two actions at the same time. You move downwards, and at the same time, you tilt your head. In this way, you work through the fascia of this muscle. You relax the muscle itself. And so on. That's how we do it. All the respiratory muscles, not all of course, essentially the basic ones restored order. And now, we can proceed with the breathing exercises. I'll show you one now. All the others. In the link in the description, those who want to can find it all there. Watch one. We need to do it in such a way that our chest mobility increases from the back. For this, we approach the wall. Here is the wall. In front of me. Here. And now I'm going to take a breath. Wrong. It's the stomach. I've now inhaled. There. The stomach dropped and approached me. See? To the wall. Bad.
Next, the second option. Improper exhalation.
Under one condition, elevate the chest. I breathe in, chest drawing near. For me, to the wall. Or it stretches. The correct version. Look. I take a breath. Inhaling, I undertake my task to make it so that this is my sternum. This is the wall. And I need to, on the inhale, my sternum moved here. Weight slightly shifted to the heels. I breathe. And on the inhale, I have a chest like this. It's here. That's it. Observe the shoulders. They don't move like this. Shoulder blades don't connect. During inhalation, shoulder blades should be slightly forward for me. Leave while inhaling in order to... These muscles at the back, relaxed, rhomboids, and gave an opportunity. Inhale and move. Workout consists in the following. You take roller, just like that. You've placed it here. Chest, unmoved. Shift shoulders forward. Your task in this roll. Just breathe. And exhale. Breathe in and out. Start like this to work. Joints from behind. Ribs. These ones. Here at the back. Just like that, friends. Try it. What's your say? Of course. Noted if unclear. If. Doesn't matter. You'll do as always. Tried with whom? Everything worked out. With whom? Everything is better. Heard it too. Write it down. Here. Completely. The whole complex. Exercises through the link in the description. Let's meet there. There, with you, we do. I'll show. Ready. All. Exercise methods here. Mobility. To maintain. In order to. Continually breathe. Air. Fresh. Entered your lungs. Inhale. Exhale. Well, friends, we're working out. Assisting parents and giving likes. Commenting. Until then. Broadcasts.